I bought a home in southern Florida that's waterfront, so it's quite humid here. And so I had to take it seriously how I'm going to have comfortable air conditioning, and in the winter just a little bit of heating. And so this house was built in 2004, and it had the original air conditioning. No, it didn't. It had already a replacement air conditioning system, because in extreme climates like this, the air conditioners only last about 7 to 12 years. This is the new one I had installed, Amana, made in Texas, and it's on a concrete pad with hurricane straps, which is also good for tornadic climates, which is about half the United States. And so the pad raises it up about 4 inches so that it doesn't get flooded. This one's pretty quiet. The old one was noisy. Here's the service on the outside. That's a breaker. And then the condensation drains there. That's not ideal, but that's the way this property is designed. So that looks all nice, good and new. Energy efficiency rating. This one's rated at 16 SEER. So that's in between those two numbers, and the heat pump is rated between, I guess, what would that be? 8.75. So if anything, by far would be the air conditioning SEER. This is the company I hired. They eventually did pretty good. I had to get on to them to correct a few minor things. So some of the things I learned, I'll go over with you. I have a permit from the city right there to do electrical work today, because I'm installing a 30 amp RV, or I've already installed it on the outside. That's the conduit for it. And then I installed another 15 amp service there because there wasn't one on this side of the garage on this side, and I didn't like the extension cord running through there. This is backup generator system, and the generator's there. So going back to the air conditioning system, what I found out is there are two components basically of the air conditioner. The air compressor, that would be what we just looked at outside, and then the air handler, in my case, mine, this being 4-ton system, the breaker for the air handler, 60 amps, 45 amps air compressor outside. The air handler is the main thing, and for some reason here in southern Florida they like to install them up high. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I don't. If you know, leave a comment. I wasn't told why they put them up there. I guess to be out of the way, so you have more room down here. So maybe anywhere they're better up. They're installed up high like that. And this right here is the condensation drain, where I just showed you it goes outside. So approximately every 1 to 3 months, especially in the summer, I'm told to pour a little bit of bleach in there to keep the bacteria from clogging it up, or mold, mildew, whatever clogs it up. And if not bleach, then I can use vinegar, is what I'm told. These here are called Plenums. There's one on each side. This is a 4-ton unit. That's about a standard size for this house, being 2,100 square foot air conditioned, and much larger square feet if you include the garage and lanai. So the air conditioned space is 2,100. Speaking of the garage, it gets mighty hot in here. Right here at 93 degrees at 50% humidity. So the humidity is not terrible in here, but the heat is. And there's some heat transfer coming in from the outside through these panels, but not as much as many other homes because this is facing north, so the sun is not beating against this door. But if it is beating against the door, you're going to want to put some insulation in here. There's some videos on YouTube how to do that. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that with this one because it feels kind of warm there. And so tips and what I learned: shop around for companies. This one I hired, it's pretty good. It's Russian owned, Ukrainian owned, Ukrainian. And then because some of the estimates I got were as much as $25,000, and I'm going to go inside and explain why they wanted to charge so much. Is because here I have what's called a hop or a jump over. So it hops over the wall, the vent does, and comes inside. In this case, this is a guest bedroom. And it comes through one of those vents there and will allow air pressure to escape, but it doesn't return hot air into the HVAC system like this one here does. This one returns air into the air handler, and so the more of those the better. When I bought the house, it only had one, that one central one there. So what they did is they well, it gets kind of complicated. What they wanted to do was install another hop over or jump over there. No, I got that wrong. They thought this was a hop over and they were going to convert it into a return air. And when they got in the attic, they realized that is not a hop over. That's an actual air conditioning service vent where the cold air comes out, because there's already one there in a master bed. And so they thought that that was one, but it isn't. So what they did is they widened that ductwork there from something like 9 inches to 12, whatever, or maybe larger. And then they thought that that was going to be it. And I said, no, our contract says you need to install one in the master bedroom. So I got on to them for a couple weeks about it, and finally they came out and did put a new one in there. So I have a new air return there. So I have 2 big air returns in the home. I don't have any in the master bath. I think ideally there would be, I guess, to pull some humid air out, but there is a vent up there with a switch for it here. And so this is a good location for a return. On thermostats, the house came with an old analog one, and I had an Ecobee put in here. It was originally installed here, and so the HVAC team had to spend a pretty good hour or so rewiring, pulling this old wire up or leaving it there, and putting in new wire coming down through here, because they couldn't cross over through here because there's a block. There are some studs in between there preventing them from moving the wire over here. And so they moved it over here, and that took them a lot of work. So they did a lot of work in this place. And so I guess while we're at it, I'll go ahead and say I did replace all but 2 of the ceiling fans. There are 7 rooms in the house, and I replaced all but I ended up installing 7 ceiling fans because the lanai has 2. So there's 2 out in the lanai. That's also good for when they're inside. This one I still need to replace. So when these ceiling fans are installed and they're the right size, this one's a larger one. I think it's 62 inches, 62-inch blade. And so when I'm in the living room watching TV, I don't need the air conditioner as much. And I have this one running all the time. In the master bedroom, I usually have that one on all the time. And sometimes this work is so tough, doing things like installing ceiling fans, and I'm still remodeling. And so as you can see, I just flop down on the bed in total exhaustion, because over here in the living room, I can't stretch out as good as I can on the bed. So those are the things you can do to alleviate stress from the air conditioner system. Another major thing would be to install low E windows. I don't have them. I have single pane, I have tempered glass. So these are strong. This is strong glass, but it's not energy efficient. So I plan on replacing the windows one at a time. Another thing, these are expensive. You can install Honeycomb window shades. They're also called cellular. They come in bottom up, top down, which is the priciest of all, where you can do odd things like that with it. I want to go back to the Ecobee. I don't really like it. I tried Honeywell. I don't like it either. The programming is really awkward. And this one's supposed to have geofencing. And so that means when I leave the house, it turns the temperature up in the summer and down in the winter automatically, but it's not doing it. So I have to call them for support. The cost of getting all this done was about $7,500. It used to be, just a few years ago, a couple thousand cheaper, but due to the mass exodus from New Jersey and California, real estate prices and the cost of services have soared in Florida, and probably in the future their price will still keep going up. The old one did work, and I did have one company tell me there's no need to replace it, but I wanted to get a new one in here anyway. This one is a 2-stage. That means at the lower speed it uses less energy and is more quiet. So at lower speed, for example, when the actual temperature is very close to the set temperature is when it will usually run at low speed. It usually runs at high speed, for example, when you're gone, and you manually or it automatically goes up to something like 82 degrees. And when you come back home, you want it to be 76. Then it will probably go into the high speed mode and higher energy consumption. This system will automatically adjust the humidity to a comfortable level. That's why I can have the temperature as high as about 76 and still be very comfortable in here. It's very cozy in here because the humidity is low. And on the menu, I'll just show you some of the options it has. See, there's Eco Plus, which will give you, it will use less energy during peak hours when energy costs the most. Right now I turned it off because it was getting too aggressive by roasting me in the middle of the day. So I turned it off. Schedule. I went online to try to program it there and I couldn't do it, so I'm going to come back here and try to do it. So it has a lot of options, but the geofencing, I'm not sure how to get that to work. I know with geofencing, you need to have the app on your phone, and then have your location enabled for the app so that it can communicate through Wi-Fi how far away you are from home through the router. Yeah, I'm still doing some electric work, getting battery backups installed all over the place. I have many battery backups. One of the most important places for battery backup is going to be where the router is, in this case over here, so that my security systems and everything can still send video to the cloud. Oh, I guess I never explained to you why that one company wanted to charge $25,000 to put in a new air conditioning system. Well, I did explain a little bit, is because they said that they had to get one of their top-notch engineers to redesign all of the ductwork. See all my ductwork there, and right there you see one of them is kind of awkwardly installed there. Then you have two side by side there, which is awkward. So there's some awkward design of my system, but that wasn't necessary. The company I hired just worked around it and repaired anything that looked out of place. And by the way, those companies that offer duct cleaning are usually a scam. There's no practical way to clean your ductwork, because that's just going to disturb any kind of mold or mildew in the system. There's just no way you can practically clean ductwork. You either just deal with what you have, or you get a new one installed. Speaking of cleanliness, here's a very important thing I'm going to go over with you. Saving one of the most important things towards last, to reward those who put up with me this far. So up here, I had a MERV 11 put in. That's one of the best air filter systems right there. That's a MERV 11 filter in there. What that means is it's a very big filter that is hospital grade to keep the system clean. So instead of having installed expensive UV lights which emit heat and consume energy to keep the system clean, I have a MERV 11. I think that's much more practical. And I'll show you what it looks like, the filter. They're so big and bulky, I tried to find some place to hide them. So I wanted to put them somewhere clean. They were in a big box, and I didn't want that big box anymore. So here's the MERV 11 that I have. They come in different sizes. This one just fits mine better. Let's make sure it says MERV 11 and where it's made. Try not to get one made in China or Mexico, because you may not be able to trust it very well. So see how deep the ribs are? So there's a lot more surface area for cleaning. See how high quality with the metal in there. Don't use those thin ones that you can clean yourself. Anything you can clean yourself or is thin, that's really bad. It's bad. You're gonna have crappy air quality, and your system won't last as long. I chose Amana because it was lower priced, still had a good warranty compared to Carrier and Train. They're all using cheaper components these days, meaning aluminum, a lot of aluminum instead of copper. So even if you go with Train or Carrier, you pay extra, you pay a lot more, you still get a downgrade from the way they were built in the past. This one has a computer in there because it's a dual stage. Behind that wall there's a computer in there. And so those need to be in a fairly dry climate. So I was worried for a while how humid it's getting in the garage. So I bought a dehumidifier and it just blew hot air, so I took it back. Then I bought one of these to see just how humid it's really getting in here. And I was surprised it's really not that humid, so the comfort problem is probably the high temperature. And so to solve that, there are many different ways. Like I said before, insulate better. This one, I could get more insulation in the attic. A lot of people don't even have a ceiling in the garage, so that's even worse. And I got the pricey cellular blind there. I can replace the window and get a low E, that'll help. And I got a nice fan here. This one, I got this one at Costco, I believe. If you can get on Amazon or Costco, this thing is really great for the size. There's another battery backup because I have a cell booster here for one of the security cameras that I wanted it protected with battery backup and surge protection. I thought it's kind of strange. The system has a lot of breakers. It had one up there in the old one, but the new one doesn't have one now. But there's one here. Air handler, that's the air handler. There's one here. There's one here. And there's one on the outside. So 3 breakers for this sucker. Wow. It's the heaviest energy consumer at 60 amps, up to 60 amps. And other ways you can keep the temperature down in the garage, obviously you can install different types of air conditioners. We'll start with the biggest, which is going to be this one. So there's a way to, I think it's this side, I'm not sure. No, I think the air is returned. I don't know. I think the air is returned here and it goes out there. So whichever one is the exit of the air, you could install a vent. Or you can install a vent on both plenums because that way it has good circulation, the hot air going through the system. Oh, you know what? No, that won't help. Okay, so yeah, you could, I guess I need to consult with a professional about this, or leave a comment if you know. Install 2, what are those called? A return on one side, and then on the other side a service duct where you can open and close it so that cold air can come in here from the main system. That's what I'm more interested in now after thinking about this a lot. Another option, easiest thing of all, just leave the door open to the house so the cold air comes in. Now I've had people complain and say that's a bad idea because now this is going to have to work too hard and that won't last as long. Well, so be it. It's a 4-ton, it can handle it. And the people who installed this recommended I do buy the extended warranty even though it's made in USA. And it looks beautiful, doesn't it? This is one of the best installs. An inspector came out here and said, oh my God, this he's seen a lot worse than this. Even from new construction, a lot of the jobs are much worse than this. So this is a really great one here. Another option is to have a portable air conditioner that's on the floor. And I tried with a dehumidifier, had a tube coming through here so it drains in the sink. Well, it was noisy and it just blew hot air and it was still hot inside, so I took it back. The portable air conditioner is different. It will actually cool, so that will be much better. Or you can install a ductless system through the wall, but since I have hurricane resistant walls, that's not going to be an easy thing. That concrete, you'll need quite a lot of a hammer drill and some kind of a hammer saw, or if that exists, somehow cut through the cinder block, which is quite thick. It's that's a pretty good foot thick. Some of them are filled with concrete, and good luck getting through that. All right, so for some people like me, the ductless air conditioner isn't practical, not only because of the difficulty getting through this strong house, but because those are expensive to begin with, especially if you hire someone to do it. All right, so the cheapest way, without just opening up your door like I have now, is to get a window unit. I thought about that and I thought, well, I think that's going to put too much stress on my electric system. A window unit's going to use a full 15 amps pretty much, or close to it. And this is a 200 amp system. I already am using over 100 amps for the air handler and the air compressor. So just to run the air conditioner is up to 120 amps, leaving only 90 for the whole rest of the house, including dryer, microwave, and spa. Everything is high energy use. So I kind of don't like the window unit idea because it's going to need its own breaker, and which it has here now. If I wanted to do it, this has its own breaker, and it's only powering a Wi-Fi booster, and that's about it. That fan sometimes, so I could do it, but I don't want to put too much. There goes into the second speed. I don't know if you just heard it get a little louder because I have the door open there. Now it's working extra hard to cool the garage. But I guess this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave the door open. So let me know in comments if you think that's a good or bad idea to leave the door open like that, or get a window unit. By far the easiest and fastest way to cool this garage is going to have the door open. But if I have that door open, or the garage door open, or even a little bit open, there would be no point in having that door open. That would be a total waste of energy then. But in this case right now, oh, look at that. The humidity went down 5%. Since my chattermouth has been going off for the past 5 minutes, so like 1% per minute since I've had that door open. That's pretty good, so that helps. You know what? It's kind of a paradox because we're kind of going in loops. Look, if I have the door open, the system has to work harder to cool the garage also, in addition to 2,100 square foot house. But if I close the door, the humidity goes, look at that, it's dropping quick. And that's way over here on the other side, 43% humidity. And if I close this door right here and have this kind of closed off and it just gets stuffy, the humidity is going to raise up and shorten the life of the air handler, because this has a computer in there that doesn't do as well when it gets hot and humid. So what do you think of that? You see what I mean? We go in a loop of efficiency and longevity of the system of yeah, I don't know what that's called, a paradox, Chinese puzzle. Electrical safety: when you work on something, the first thing you do is shut off the main breaker, and don't touch anything underneath the main breaker or connected to the main breaker, which would be especially those two black ones there. You could get killed if you touch any of those two. And so once that's off, pretty much everything above it is going to be dead. But those three wires, I mean those two wires on the ends, are extremely dangerous. And look at the metal exposed. The aluminum is exposed there, and copper. So stay away from those. I kind of want to put a piece of red, I'm probably going to do it, put a piece of red tape. Here, let me put this on pause and I'll just do it. All right, see there, I put the red tape in front to warn myself, stay away from there. Stay away from there. Also, that's the neutral. I'm actually not competent enough to know what happens if you touch the neutral when the breaker's off, but I'm not going to try it. If you know, let us know in comments. So that'll prevent your fingers from touching it as much, and also prevent, if you have a metal tool, turn it at an angle, it could touch something there, and that would be quite disastrous. There's really no reason for that to have been open like that, because after install, you should never have to touch those three wires ever again. A couple minutes later, 40%. So what's happening is hot air is coming into the house and going up through that return right there, back through the attic and into here, and it's just looping right there. So that's kind of a little bit of an efficient air conditioning there going on, because the distance is very short. It's about 93 degrees outside and inside, but it's feeling better in here because although the temperature didn't go down but 1 degree, the humidity's gone down 10%, which makes a huge difference in comfort. The tools won't rust as badly like this. If there's an electric storm, hurricane, whatever, and I lose my power and I turn the generator on, this generator is definitely not going to power this air conditioning and heating system. So that's why I have battery backup for this fan. That thing should power this fan for 4 hours if I need to be in a garage, and then I have another fan in front of my computer with a battery backup, a much bigger battery backup. I can run that fan down here, a much bigger battery backup. APC is what I recommend. This one's Cyber Power. I do not recommend that one. I'm taking that one back to Costco, and that other one you saw sitting on the bean bag is going to go over here under the desk. But this fan here I got at Costco or Sam's Club. It's quite powerful for the tiny size, and it's made by Woo-Zoo. Yeah, so this one, wow, that one's really good. Same thing with the one in the garage, but this one's more appealing looking, and it's a smaller size. So I'm sitting here in the office, which is a family room, and it's so quiet with the air conditioner running because it's a new modern system. The fans I got have remote controls. They all have remote controls. I made sure to get the same brand so they're all compatible, except for the one in the living room has a special remote control because it has more features regarding the fan especially. Ceiling fans are, in my opinion, not easy to replace because you don't know what you're going to be getting into taking the old one down, what kind of unprofessional wiring they did before. And in my case, this one had strange wiring in there because it had separate wiring for the fan and separate wiring for the light, 2 different switches. And then back to the one of the guest bedrooms, it had a separate side just for the light and one side for the fan. So I had to put on a blank on one side because with the new system, it has the remote control. There is no more separate switch here anymore because the new ones, the modern ones with LED, they don't allow dimming from the wall control. And a super cool thing you can get, these are pricey, this one's a little over $100, is a thermal camera that plugs into your smartphone by USB-C. And what this does is allows you to see on your phone, when you're looking through your phone, you will see reddish color, indicative of how much heat there is in a spot, and it'll tell you the actual temperature. So that's really good to analyze without hiring a professional, how good your attic insulation is. Because if you see a certain color in one area and then it says something like 90 degrees right there, and then it goes down to 80 over here, you know there's insulation missing right there if that happens. And then you can also see it'll turn blue where there's cold air coming out. So this could save you money in the long run. I originally got this because when I was living in my camper van full time, I had to use a thermal camera to monitor the temperature of my Tesla battery module, because since it's lithium ion cobalt chemistry of that Tesla battery is extremely dangerous if it gets too hot. And so for safety reasons, I had to invest in one of these. But shortly after getting this, I ended up buying the home, and I bought this home kind of unexpectedly quick. And I'm going to make another video why I chose Florida and why I chose this home. That'll be a separate video. I don't have a new puppy yet. I'm still looking for one. When I get one, I'll feel safer leaving it at home alone in the summer when it's extremely hot outside and I have a dependable newer air conditioner. One of the features of this high-end fan is it has this wavy looking button right there. And what that does is it tells the fan to operate in different speeds. So it'll blow real fast and then real slow and then real fast. So what that does is it allows good air circulation instead of just one setting. So I pretty much jumbled in together several different topics, but they're all highly related. That would be mainly the air conditioner, compressor, and air handler. And I didn't mention why did I get a heat pump. Because the heat pump, although it's more expensive than the heating element, is the heat pump is going to make the winters more comfortable whenever there's the need for heat. And in southern Florida, it actually gets cold, but just not icy and snowy and all that crap. Or it doesn't freeze. But, you know, when it's 40 degrees outside, which it will get once in a while, then it's going to be pretty cold in here, so I need a heater. And then in the winter, I will make the blades go clockwise, because in the summer, counterclockwise supposedly keeps the cooler air down and the hotter air up. So my intention of the video is not just to show off the new home, much more comfortable than living in a van full time. I did that for 6 years. It's because I wanted to share what I learned about having a new HVAC system installed and some tips on energy efficiency. And also to get your comments in the comment section on what I got wrong and any kind of suggestions you have. Thanks.